Amplification here today. So if those of you on the front row, it feels like I'm yelling at you. My wife is in theater. She says, always talk to the person in the back row. So I'm looking at the people in the back row and I'm speaking to them, so I apologize to those who sound like I'm yelling. Just a point for those who, as you're up here speaking, if you're a candidate, just remember to speak to the back row so everybody can hear. I understand we're being live streamed, so thank you very much for those who are making that work, and appreciate those who are joining us that way. Before we get started, and of course thank you to being here as interested citizens. This only America and republicanism and electing your leaders only works if people are interested and show up, and so thank you for being here. If I could, as we get started, I've asked Mr. Jerry Durr if he could open us in prayer. Remember to speak to the back row.
Okay. Thank you, David. Thank each one of you for coming. Let us pray. Dear God, we just thank you for this opportunity we have tonight to put on this forum and meet different candidates for school board and city council. We pray, Father, that you bless their speeches, bless the time we have together, and just that each one of these running will look to you for direction in whichever job they get. We pray all this and bless David as he asks the questions. And we pray all this in the name and through the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. As we go, if I could have the two city council members, city council candidates come, Mr. Park and Mr. Atkins. Something I forgot to say, thank you to Misty Woodruff for organizing this, and thank you. Say thanks for that. So we'll get started with 90-second opening statements. Then I have some questions prepared. We'll go through, and I will get out my phone so I can keep time. I'll try to. How about if I give you a 15-second warning? Is that all right?
That will be fine.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I did not prepare here. Let's go with timer. Minute. Mr. Atkins, if you can give us your opening.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. My name is Al Atkins. I am the current council member for District 2, and I'm also this year's Mayor Pro Tem for the City Council. And for those who are not aware of the duties of Pro Tem, it basically allows me to fill in for Mayor Ransom if Mayor Ransom may function or to host. My wife Denise and I have been in Greenville since I have been in town. I have served on the Airport Advisory Board. I've been on the Juice Board of Trustees for 2 terms. I worked for the Planning and I come from City Council. I've got almost 30 years of major global operational experience, which allows me to bring that talent to the operation of, and I also local government, either an ad hoc, a committee, or an elected official position. I look forward to
All right, Mr. Park.
I am Paul Park, the candidate for City Council Place 1. Mr. Park is my dad. Helen and our 2 children moved here about 30 years ago. Years in August, so we're some people. But we bought the first house we looked at right down Highway 69 in Oakville. I came here from Washington, D.C. for what was then E-System as a systems engineer, and after about 3 or 4 years at that, I moved up to the program manager out there during the Raytheon and the whole through that. Since I've been here and recently city government and participating in it, I have attended almost every city I was a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, active in the participation, or the senior tax freeze and participation of that, and getting that passed, and I hope to be the representative for place 1 now. Thank you.
Thank you. Question? So, say Mr. Park. Mr. Park. And it's questions crammed into one, but I'm sure you can handle it. What is the role of a good city member, and how can you contribute to the city council?
I believe the role of a good city council member, primarily the citizens that, in this case, it would be citizens of place 1. At the same time, I believe you have the overall city and what they want, because what's may not necessarily be good for the city. So you have to temper the, I believe, and come up with what is the best solution for the city. And you also need to have a rational reason for that, I believe. I am primarily a data type person, heavily, and pass things. If it's the other part to that, I'm sorry.
Oh, just how can you contribute to the city council?
I contribute as have a lot of knowledge in finance background, how budgets, how bids are done, and I think that's something that we look at. There needs to be spend the taxpayer. So I believe as good taxpayers have an as possible of account and maintain and spend the city's dollars. It's not can be made hard, but it's really not hard, I don't believe. Just inject some logic and reasoning into it.
All right, that's time.
Are our stockholders. And if not, of your tax dollar, we are not doing our job. Or all agree there have been neglected, and as we get ready to update our infrastructure, growth will. So simply, we either manage the growth or we're going to allow growth to manage us. And I bring the operational global airline and environmental experience to manage the growth.
All right, very good. Okay, so let's move to our second question. This will go to Mr. Atkins first. Everybody loves services. Nobody likes taxes. However, services must be funded by taxes. And what is your guiding principle between more or less taxes, more or less services? Mr. Atkins.
The guiding principle is the population to reasonably. It's the city's goal to provide the services that we need: police, fire, garbage, water. The nice to have things, the amount program, the ability of the taxpayer. Council in my first term from 64 to 9. Heard Brent South's predictions of value, and as we go into budget, the next we have to take a close look at what the city needs to function and to grow, to manage incoming growth, and how much we can lower the tax rate for the citizen, because your assessments will go up and there will be more revenue coming in, so we have to find the balance.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Park, would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Everybody loves services, nobody likes taxes. However, services must be funded by taxes. What is your guiding principle between more or less taxes, more or less services?
Principle, again, agreeing with everything that Councilman Atkins said. The guiding principle is it takes a finite amount of money to run the city. It's just a simple fact. It's what I call it's care and feeding. You have to pay for the police department, fire department, services, and everything that goes with it. And it takes a finite amount of money to do that. At the same time, that's basically the general fund. Improvements to do new whatever goes with it out of existing infrastructure. My belief is that's good, but I don't believe people care that much about the assessed value of their house. I think what they care about is so how do you get it? Has determining you have must have establish a priority. This is the must have. Good to have. This would be nice. When you run out of money, if what's a reasonable thing, you stop. How do you? Instead of determining a tax rate going in, we already know the assessed value, and multiplying that rate by where's the assessed value. This is how much money we've got. How we're going to spend it. Determine how much money we need. Take the assessed value, divide that into the amount of money we need, and determine the tax rate.
All right, that's good. Okay, thank you. Move to the third part. Where does Greenville need to invest regarding infrastructure, and how should it be funded?
Infrastructure, there's a goal on the city council is to build infrastructure that lasts. There is no such thing. There's no building. Infrastructure has to be. Where does it be? We have to look forward at the growth that's coming to the city. We have all of these new businesses, growth and residents are coming in. We got to be able to water, sewer, electricity, and whatever. We have to plan for. And as it said, let the development run the city, let the city run development. Do it. The recently impact fees, that's going to help in paying for the increased sewer and supporting that goes with structure, new business, new residents that come in. The others, tax increase. Tax increase nobody wants to hear, obvious reasons. It's a possibility. Right now, our sales tax is set at the highest rate that's allowed by the state, 2%. Going to take looking into it. If you can identify a specific reason, or you can actually, in justification from what you can actually exceed that maximum tax rate, but it has to be what you're going to use that money for.
Mr. Atkins, where does Greenville need to? How should it be funded?
As is our, I'd like annual certified financial report was just presented to City Council, and urgent need to maintain aging infrastructure, particularly in streets that is over 100 years old, and provide services with historically lagging revenue streams. However, in the last fiscal year, the city saw an increase in sales tax revenues. At the same time, the city must be prepared in and increase development. So right now, priority. We must plant. We just a water line from Lake Tawaka to water was from the 1950s. Water plant, we are upgrading to We will have to do sewer. We have 180 miles of streets, the $50 million street. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I'll move on to question 4. Start with Mr. Atkins. Plan B, what about 25 years? This is an open-ended question. You can sure or wherever you want to. But what's Greenville's 10-year plan B, and what's his 25-year plan B?
Well, in the 10 years, we'll start with the plan. We approved that revision, and taxpayers $125,000, and that, which is the basic roadmap of where we are zoning, and will be presented for their first review. 25, as we grow, and you've heard it from all the media, state of the county, we've got anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 coming in. We're going to increase police and all the to go with it. So first and foremost, as we have to make sure, and also with the amenities that the citizens demand and desire to make this a vibrant community.
The question, what should, Mr. Park, what should Greenville's 10-year plan be? What should his 25-year plan be?
The 10-year plan, I believe, as Councilman Atkins said, needs to be a forecast. Ideally, you have a crystal ball tell you exactly what it is. None of us have one. So we would hope there to develop the infrastructure and whatever that's needed to support our projected growth and the more business. It's not easy, but it's not hard. We fit the retailer's business model and convince them that it's an ideal place for them. That's a place, that's a start in how you bring if you want to look at their business model. If your city doesn't fit their business model, it's just not going to happen because funds have limited, and there's more limit on construction that come in and the prices have escalated. So retail, where they come in, want, I believe, to draw them in town. 25-year plan, good of 25 years. We put together 5-year plans, 35-year plans before you rewritten for the second time. So I'm advocate of 25 years because everything is too fluid at that point. Through your 10-year plan isn't worth the pen or paper it's printed on, I don't believe.
All right, very good. Question number 5, start with Mr. Atkins. What role should the City Council play in managing development?
The City Council obviously approval authority for development, whether it be zoning, changes, direction for of how, and it is in accordance that have been created and input, and the consultants to give us that roadmap to follow. As different things come in, and it can be amended, but is role to ensure that is set are followed, and just of tax revenue, because anybody who is in the last year get a vision tax revenue is with you could put you could make 380 a 10-lane highway, and it's a traffic nightmare that it's become.
Thank you. I'll repeat the question for Mr. Excuse me. What role should the City Council play in managing development?
Well, the City Council in managing development has to consider the best interest of the citizens to begin with the zoning changes. And when it comes to residential changes, if a developer is wanting and put in a development that doesn't necessarily fit the established community of where they are, you need to go back and tell them existing community citizens. The city side, only so much zone commercial within comes to rezoning that function. Rezone all these other things and we get the retail and business zone something else. We also, as Mr. Adkins said, for sure need to follow the city development plan. There's a lot of money spent on. Why have it instead of making it? So you have to weigh all of these together. I believe it's a balancing act. Thank you. It's what's best for the area of the city that it's going in, and how does it most important does it fit the development plan? Your plan. Thank you.
Okay. The last very timely in your answers, so that's. And I guess the way we'll do that for the last question, and then final. How will you handle contentious situations when they come before the city council? How do you handle those delicate situations when they come up? Mr. Parker?
My experience attending city council meetings, there's nothing that isn't a comes up there. It's all a controversy. It's constant controversy. It really doesn't matter what it is. There's somebody not going to like it. You can't make it happy. You make the majority happy, and again, you do what's best. Say it's not going to be conflict. That's not real. It's just not going to happen. And there's always going to be the city citizens. Not true. Consideration of the city council as a whole. It's a bunch of people that essentially volunteer. They're not paid. Many people have said to me, "Why are you doing this?" And so, it gets. And again, you talk to the constituents. One of the things I plan to do is communicate more with the constituents. All of them think citizens want, but at the same time, you the city, and that's a tough decision. But the make tough decisions.
Okay. Contentious situations when they come before the city council.
How can I add on to what? Realistically, number one, you listen to your district and not to make decisions for. There was a recent thing that came before. I at the end of the day, if it becomes contentious, when you're in the chamber, it's a business decision for the interest of the city and the citizens, and it's not personal. And when we all walk out, we can all remain friends and neighbors.
15. Okay. Any of you have any questions? Yes, sir.
Wayne Moore's place too. I'd like to hear both your thoughts on, there's some current initiatives and speculation and, pipe dreams underway of what can be done downtown. Is a big fan of that. However, my question directly would be, who should bear the responsibility for revitalizing downtown? Should it be the taxpayer in toto, or should that be shared among the taxpayers as well as the property owners downtown? Should we have massive debt for it? Or should we invest as we go?
Just repeat that question, sort of how to fund revitalization. Should fit the bill for that? Is that fairly does it? I guess, Mr.
I think we can all agree that downtown needs revitalized. Tuesday night, $1,000 contract with a consulting firm to work with the two downtown ad hoc committee that the mayor appointed. Downtown. The city infrastructure, there are 150-year-old water lines and sewer lines under town. That would be a responsibility of the city and or but the property owners. We are improving the foundation of the area and update their building, make it more. And once again, the 4,000 new homes that are coming in, the market, the
Okay.
Councilman Adkins, share it will improve what's coming in and the situation involving with it. Again, as Mr. Adkins said, there was vitalized lives in Kentucky town area. They made it beautiful, but they $300 million. Riverboat cruises, they stop in that particular town. All money when you go to $300 million. Within about this gentleman.
All right, that's time.
Thank you.
David, may I add one thing? Aid to ensure development helps pay the way. Development.
Mark, do you have anything afterward?
No.
That's good. Okay. Any between these two things?
I think, and do some fishing or whatever. You'd have to have control of the things that are
Downtown, we are the county seat for downtown to further refine it and see where we need to go and how we have restaurants open up and failed. We have to evaluate, bring on massive debt that is.
Could I add a little, if you don't object?
Sure.
Go for it.
You would have to dig through the city budget and how it's these things. The city spends more on parks than real parks and recreation facilities because you have to maintain money on these has to be. It gets very hard to revitalize these recreational facilities. Prioritize it and go with what's in the best interest, including where they're located. Did I get that?
No. Point. It is one. Listen to the citizens. They tell us what they desire. Look at the finances, revenue coming in, and we communicate what we can hit that. Keep it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think you probably have time. Going once. Going twice. Yes, ma'am. Just as loud as you
how do you know as a city, know how to like we're considering this? Do you want a recreational facility or more softball fields? What requires all this upkeep and the parks turning into burn bins? What's
Well, the city does, if you don't mind, I'll go first.
Go. Good.
The city does have a parks master plan. The Parks and Rec people have, but as to reach out on the city website, we have what we call the are in the pipeline, what they do future plans, some things that belong to your individual district direct, or a link to the entire, or still come to meetings for Tuesday. Get citizens to be heard, get up and desires, and that way all in hear you and the desire behind is impact. Mr. Park?
Well, if you look at parks and recreation facilities, one of the things you have to consider the restrooms that have to be maintained. They have to be replaced. You get into vermin, and you got to. So there's things that, just as the care and feeding, one facility, it's not a lot. Sports park, the parks across town together, $1 of a number, but it's cutting the grass alone. Go out there, don't use them, there's no point in having them.
The closing statements, and since the person who gets the last word on a closing statement gets an advantage, I thought we would draw for that. So if I could,
You can go first.
one will speak first.
You get the advantage, Paul.
Oh, I do? Too.
It wasn't a secret ballot.
I tell you what, for closing statement, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay. Again, I'd like to thank Misty Woodruff and the Hunt County Liberty Forum for putting this forum on tonight. You've done an excellent job. I'd like to thank tonight and listen to questions. And for those viewing us on Facebook, you missed a good discussion in person. We wish you would have been here. And just finishing up my first term, I'm eligible for a second term. Constituents, I have several of my appreciate them, and I'll look forward to their reviews after this. May 3rd, and election is May 7th. A member of the council, I appreciate y'all being here. Paul?
I too would like to come and listen. Well, it's commendable to involve citizens. I would like to go back to early, and that's contentious things at the city council meeting. Many people may not know, but the council doesn't respond. respond to a request. Many people don't know of that. I talked with the previous, had a discussion. One, you don't want a city council response that you're going to take a firm commitment of what it's going to be. The other one is a citizen can say, if I had known this was, I would have been at the city. So if it's not an them, getting the citizens to be ones. Typically, I'll respond as a statement of fact, not an opinion. So the city council is not necessarily blowing you off when they don't answer your question. They have binding rules that they must follow by the state. The other one that I, to Mr. Atkins' intents on it, is our infrastructure in this city. It's like everywhere else, it's the structure of America. If you read it, it's all across the country to go with it. Difficult to, and really, people aren't interested in water and sewer under the street. You don't see them. You want the money spent on something you can see and go, ooh, look what a. In the meantime, you got water 6 inches deep on your nice street because the sewer won't drain it. The bond that they're doing, most places on the street repairs, most of it, the infrastructure repaired, water and sewer, because in the street that's on top of a 50-year-old crumbling infrastructure. That's one of the factors to the cost of the street repairs when it goes to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Mr. Parker. At this time, if school board candidates could come up. I have a question. Is the microphones picking up when audience speaks?
It is.
Or not? It is?
As long as they are projecting, it is.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. So do you have different times? Or different sections? Different. So like what color is 15? So it's 30 seconds. I could do 15. Yeah, we can do 15 seconds. Okay.
Don't be nervous, just let me do this. Appreciate it.
What's that? Oh, no, it's just, it is in front of you on the table.
Oh, you still hear it?
Make sure I have your name for it, so you're- Okay, are we ready?
No.
We're really ready.
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dean, Mrs. McDonald. All right. If we can start, now let's see, I think timekeeper now, so Misty's back. When you get the yellow card, that's 15 seconds. And if we could start with the 90-second opening statement, Mr. Dean.
Mr. Dean, not lady.
Left or right?
Not
First? Sure, we'll go ladies first.
Okay, well, my name's Colleen McDonald, and I have been in Greenville for about 10 years. For my state prison, he retired, so it was my chance to take a move to Greenville, and it's been a blessing since we've been here. I've been in education for 33 years, special education, so I am for students at all levels and heights, K through 8. The majority of my experience. I've also worked as an instructional specialist in special education and in Greenville.
All right, thank you.
90 seconds, this should be real. Sit over here. I have 5 children. I have 2 that graduated from Greenville High School in 1994. Security forces, field security forces, so I did law enforcement and security, stationed in Utah. My reason for board is just as the students, parents, what's going on. I know we'll have a big issue with the financial situation that we're having for the last 22 years. It's like on council, I like to investigate, ask questions, dig into everything. I'm going to ask, like I said, I ask questions over and over until I get the answer. So that's my reason. So you actually have a guy listen to all the citizens, all the parents. I do not know.
Okay, thank you. I'll address the first question first, and then we'll alternate order. How can you contribute to the board, and what will guide your decision making?
What will guide my decision making is the policy that the board adopt. The policy that the board adopt. Also listening to the parents, listen to the superintendent. Together. Someone who to be an advocate for the. So that's what the board. GISD board is made up of individuals who've been on here a long time. 22 years. My oldest son, 22 years. Nothing has changed. And so what I can bring to the board is new ideals. Child in school. And so I'm bringing
my background in education. I'm familiar with budget and budget planning. I understand in order to meeting the needs of all students. I think my experience, what I'm a very data-driven person. I look at data. I think that I will definitely add to the board.
Okay, thank you very much. So alternating order, I'll go with question number 2, Ms. McDonald. So it's good to have harmony on any board. I've served on boards, so it's best to get along well. But the occasional issue is so important that you will feel compelled to take a stand. You must stand by yourself. How will you determine which issues rise to that level of compelling a stand, such a stand by yourself?
I will stand by myself for kids. I think when kids are being affected, all kids, and like I said, I'm a huge advocate for the lowest level, the lowest, but for all kids. And I think if I feel that students are not getting what they need through their teachers and through materials and supplies, I will definitely stand for our students.
Okay, Mr. Dean?
Can you repeat it?
Oh, yes. It's good to have peace and harmony on any board, but the occasional issue will be so important that you will feel compelled to take a stand, even if you must stand by yourself. How will you determine?
Much the same thing as my future board member. When it comes down to the children, come down to what's needed best for the students, and also with the teachers. I think we have to the teachers. I guess the ideal. I guess puts. Let me see what I'm trying to say. I'm nervous. I'm not ashamed at all. I am new to this school board, but like I did on the city council, something that I wholeheartedly believe is absolutely. Or it's not in the benefit of the, or it's not in the best interest of the students, then I stand alone.
Start question number 3 to Mr. What are Greenville ISD strengths, and what are some areas of concern that you want to address, and how would you address them?
The areas of concern are just the ones being brought to me by the parents and by the teachers. Lack of discipline in school. Teachers are quitting over behavior from the students. Quitting over pay. getting tongue-tied. It's all right.
All right. Ms. McDonald, what are the concern that you want to address, and how would you address them?
Can I go back to that now that I know what you're
Yes,
saying?
Okay, yes, sure.
Yes, the strengths of GI that I have seen is that everybody do try to work together. At least, and I see a difference in the kids. When I, you know, you'll have your sections. So I see a formulate, but I see a friendship in Greenville ISD, or a friendship in Hunt County in general. We have too many, buddy system in Greenville is making things bad for like the small, just like with the city, it's making it bad for the city overall because of the friendships we have here in Greenville. So one thing I can bring to this city is someone who is neutral, someone who will be complete. My friends are not right if it's not policy. My friends are not right if it's not best for the students. And so I'm going to bring you honesty, transparency, school district.
Okay. Greenville ISD strengths, and what are some areas of concern that you would like to address, and how would you address them?
I think the areas of strengths are the things that are advertised, the things that we see brought before the board each month. I wrote the robotics, oh, my mind's going blank. The Suzuki, those programs that we have that are available for a lot of our students, I think draw some students in, but I think it just, in our weakness is the top. We celebrate those students very highly. And solar car, I think, is another one, but there's 95% of our students that we're not addressing, in my opinion. Our scores are at data IL district at the bottom. A lot of those districts have more money, low SES, the low poverty type students, they have less of that. But I don't think we can use that as an excuse for our students not performing. A child who comes from poverty has the same right to get an education as a child who comes from, and so I think we need to see all students have the right to have that high level of education. I know a lot of people are against STAR and those kinds of things, but that's a measure that we have on how well our children are progressing in the curriculum that the state designs for us. And if our children aren't progressing in that curriculum, then we're failing our kids. And I think that's a huge concern of mine, is that students are not progressing compared to the peers that they're going to be competing in with UIL.
For your decisions.
I wish there was more meetings and those. As a board member, I will be working with Greenville ISD and listening to the parents and to their concerns. But parents need to be involved in budgets. Parents need to be at those budget meetings asking questions about where money is being spent. Citizens need to be at those budget meetings. How is the school budget? It's a very, I've gone through a lot of those meetings, and I think people are missing out and seeing where your tax dollars are being spent and how that's being planned. So I think parents need to be involved in that. Schools need to contact parents when students are having good days, and they need to be contacting them when they're having not so good days. We need parent support in order to be successful, not do it alone. And so bringing in the parents and involving all parents into the education processes.
Okay. My question here. Oh, decision making.
I won't be nervous on this one. I'm a parent, and like I said, I put 2 boys through this high school already. One of the roles that I stay in contact with the teachers constantly. I like to inform the teachers when my boy in class. You let me know what they're doing the first time. Don't build a report on my child, and then let me know a week later, because his punishment is not going to be as bad as what in first time, you could have had a great. So parents can stay involved, get involved like in the school board like I'm doing, come ask questions, find out what's going on with the parents, what's going on with the money, what's going on with the teachers, child is failing, what's the behavior like, what's the atmosphere like. Just coming to the school, do random. So parents can't do all this. I'm going to be on the board. So my thing is, as a parent, active, stay involved, stay informed. A lot of us making decisions informed as a parent, because we're not informed who's principal or the superintendent. So be informed and in contact with.
Thank you very much. We'll move to, I believe this would be question 5. But in recent weeks, some discovered that inappropriate books, including books which many describe as pornographic, have been found in school libraries. If elected, would you be willing to call for libraries to ensure that such books are not present?
Absolutely. This I'm listen to the parents. For real, I'm gonna put my numbers public. You can call me. I did the same thing with the city council. You call me, I'm coming to meet you face to face. So if the school need to be audited, you feel like some books are inappropriate, I'm gonna get you the answers you need. If the library need to be audited, some inappropriate books, definitely pornography that's out of line. Requested, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Ms. Want me to repeat the question? Or?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I definitely would agree with an audit of the books, and I believe there's laws in place now, or there's something brewing where Governor Abbott is asking for a committee or advisory committee among school districts to have parents, teachers, administrators involved when new books are being ordered. And so I think that's already in the works. But I would definitely agree with that do a full audit of our libraries to ensure that our books are appropriate for the age that, at the school level. As we order new books, have a committee that reviews those books and looks at what we're putting new into our library. So that would definitely be a good way for parents to be involved, but to have administrators and teachers involved in the process.
Okay. Next question is on a similar line. I'll start with Ms. McDonald. What is your opinion of teachers or about the knowledge or consent of their parents?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Sexuality beyond the classroom curriculum of biology, all that we should be covering. That's what the curriculum covers, and that's the only thing that should be being discussed. I don't discuss personal life with my children ever. They know I have a husband, and that's about it. And so I think that's a home issue, that's a doctor issue, that's a psychiatrist issue, a counselor issue. Teachers are not trained. And I am 100% on leaving that between the parent and the...
Okay. Mr. Dean, you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, sir. I want all the parents to hear.
What is your opinion of teachers or counselors encouraging children to transition genders without the knowledge or consent of the parent?
Absolutely unacceptable. So, and I don't know too many people know me outside of here, but you know, I'm gonna be transparent on this one as well. I have a zero tolerance for anything on those lines, man, woman, period. So that's just where I stand. High school behaviors are absolutely out of control. You can't to the games, you can't go to the football games, basketball games. It's just out of control. The standard at the school is absolutely terrible. And I know the kids gonna whatever, but everything starts at home. It starts at home, but I still feel like the school can have some policies to where we can address some of the issues, even if they go back to wearing uniforms. Go back to wearing uniforms, because what they allow these kids to wear these days is unacceptable. It's raggedy, what we say in our neighborhood is raggedy. Totally inappropriate. And just the standard at the school have absolutely just came down. It's for a bad learning environment. Now I gotta stop saying.
All right, I have one more question prepared, and then if they want to be thinking of. Question number 7. Are you opposed to the current GISD bond proposal? Why or why not?
I'm against the bond for certain reasons. We have a new board members coming on, and the school, like this school in 1994. So we're asking for a bond to build new buildings after neglecting the buildings we've been having forever. I don't understand why we're keep neglecting something that's owned. No different than the city. You have a bunch of city buildings that the city then will go put money into something else. New board come along, the finances, and find out what we're doing with the audits, guys managing funds, people almost went to jail. Those issues that's yesterday. So we shouldn't be trying to dilly and dabble with new money. $170 million plus is absolutely ridiculous. So let's find out with what we have, and then to you guys with a bond proposal.
Okay, Ms. McDonald.
I'm against the bond at this time. An analogy of a house and a home. You could have a beautiful house and a very unhappy people in that house, or a very dysfunctional house. A dysfunctional home, I said, but you can have a really small home, or small house, a functional home. Right now, we need to work on the home. We need to work on the four walls of our school and get our kids on the right track. I think he hears a whole lot more than I hear. I look at the data scores and about some of how we're spending money, but I think before we house, we have to work on what's happening inside our four walls. And then once we get what's fixed inside our four walls, then I think we'll earn the trust of the community. Our kids will be excelling, all kids will be excelling. That trust on its own, we won't sell a bond, we won't have to sell the district, it'll sell itself because of the progress that our students are making. And so I strongly feel the home is where we need to start, and that's inside those four walls.
Yes, and we ask the question. Speak up, it'll pick up on the microphones and they can get it for the live stream. So.
Well, all I'd like to know is what they are. I can't read the sign.
Another question? Yes, sir.
Yes. So I did put 2 children through. I'd like to know board members of what you do as board members. Very solid. We have, seems like, actually decreasing attendance. Number 2, our teacher turnover rate seems to be 25%. Any business losing 25 employees a given year. So, and number 2, going on the bond, would you refer actually, you amplify it. How would you refocus on actually than what's going on inside the classroom to restore discipline, motivate the teachers?
Let's start with Ms. McDonald.
I think transparency is the key. Teachers, we have great kids here, and I think they a good education is a solid. But I don't think they're transparent with me, which is important. We need to be truthful. Schools realize what's happening. For the teachers to make those changes happen. Fiction, but we hear the struggles that teachers are having. The kids, as we think everything's wonderful, it's not going to get fixed. We have to have true transparency in what's happening, the good, so that we can come together as a community to support our kids and to support our teachers.
I'm in agreement. And then when we talk about addressing one of the reasons most teachers leaving is pay, the next biggest factor of leaving is behavior. And my observation of that comes from the school is out the money. Behavior for the kids. So dilemma right now between the classes before. So you have the kids, or you have to put them in school or whatever, and this as many funds. I'd rather have a safe school than you have money coming making the school safe. Listen to the teachers. The teachers will tell a lot. They will tell you what's going on. Or fearful like everybody losing their job. Why should they be that way? Why should it be like that? So we have a superintendent who we determine that role. I do not believe in a superintendent getting a raise and teachers do not get a raise. Teachers should get a raise first in my book. Different the raise. So that's how I am, because without teachers, without the city. So if you don't have the people who's actually address the issues of the talking about the curb appeal, use the money. So that's all.
All right. Okay.
Okay. I have 4 questions. So I'd like either or. So it's a lightning round. So you either say so phonics or whole word? Are you for phonics or are you for whole word?
I think you have to teach to the needs of the students. There are some students who learn through whole word. Phonics is a foundation. I think we need to start with phonics, but there are some kids who by phonics, and you have to go to the whole word. But phonics, I think, should always be attempted first.
Cursive or sorry.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do on the month, and I'm gonna listen to the people that's experienced.
Cursive or touch screen? Just
Cursive.
okay. Spelling.
I'm sorry.
With disabilities.
Grammar or software?
Grammar.
Original or new math?
Arithmetic. Math is special.
And the last, problem solving or multiple choice?
Solving.
Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. We graduated from high school here, his parents graduated from high school. His grandfather was on the middle school board, on the. I went in middle school this week, and I'm for the bond proposition because, and this is old data, 2018 to 2019, Greenville ISD was 39 school districts in the state, and we ranked 14%. So I feel like we're on the right track. We need to do something internal improvements before we start, like, on my old high school lot, we used to park a whole lot of cars there. I mean, it's got empty spaces. Why do we need something special for that? And I feel like we're on the wrong track with a whole lot of money here. So that's just my opinion. I don't really have a question. As I don't take the paper anymore, so it's when the school board meetings and the city council meetings are. I do get an email from the school district with info.
Mr. Dean, you have a response for that?
No, I mean, just like you're talking about the old bus park, you can just renovate what we have. I've been in L3 for 15 years, and I'm telling you, it was a restroom there. Terrible. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. Just hold yourself up. They renovated this bathroom. Beautiful. You knock out the wall. The period beams. It's nice. You just put something new in there. Don't cost you too much or nothing, man. And you would not know that. But it's all have. And like anything, like when it was on the city, I believe you should work on the inside first. Let somebody really want to come to this. Use your darn money. If you don't want to use your money, then get
Work on the home. I truly believe that once we do that, our enrollment is dropping. As neighborhoods, I'm hearing of kids in Macadie, of several families that are homeschooling. I know there are students in Quinlan, that's where I'm teaching currently. And our area is dropping. And I just, as long as those numbers are not going to have the need for a new building right now, but I don't think it's going to until we take care of what's going on inside those four walls.
Okay, so you had a question.
I also graduated 5 years. The things I know is that a lot of stuff going on in the world right now comes back to people being greedy, being unethical, being that kind of stuff, and all of that is learned at home, reinforced in the school, and you want to have, I think they should, talking to a lot of different kids, how do you care? The kids that don't know what they want to do, they, a kid, I'm going to do this, it doesn't matter how I graduate, out of home.
I'll go.
let her answer first. I'll go back.
I think it comes from building relationships. I've been in and I'm the kind of teacher that if a teacher comes to me that had a child the year before, I'm going to receive that child, student, his parents. That child, a couple days, I'm calling that parent, I'm building that relationship with the child. I'm determined that's not going to be a terrible child, and I'm determined that's not going to be a terrible parent. And we're going to make things work. And so I think you have to have staff and you have to have teachers that are willing to go, that to bring in that are labeled troubled, bring in and fix and help work with those kids that are labeled trouble, because they have the, and the odds, they don't have the parenting skill.
word, so how do we get teachers to do that?
Well, you have to create the environment that you hire those kinds of teachers that come in. They feel supported, they feel that that's an expectation from administration, and creating an environment that can happen in.
I feel like the teachers, if you have concerned teachers, no matter what, but I still feel that you should have policy under any issue. Do so much. It's, what's going on in the school, the behavior is out of control. You just can't do anything. And these are the policies of the school. They don't want to. These teachers want. I mean, for real, they want to do something to assist a teacher who just tolerance for that mess and want to instead of a detention center.
I think I have time for one more question.
What constraints do the state find you as a board for accomplishing some of the goals you enunciated?
You said welcome strengths?
What constraints to accomplish what you have?
I've had in mind, I don't think it was out of line on they need to go the policy. If the policy is out of line, then you know you have the TEA who's going to that's what you have the parents for strengths and report us to the state, and then they if something is out of line.
Main roles of the hire and supervise them accountable for the job they're doing in the school. And so I think that expectation that we
Okay, I got a little time. Pat, you said you had a question?
Are you on social communicate with?
My phone number is 9327419. Listen, I did. I'm open because you're going to have questions. I'm not going to know something. Learn more from Al. Where Paul? Is Paul still here? Make a Paul. You learn more from these people who are in the field doing the work. So I'm open to what to me. I'm 46. No, I'm 20. I know. Then you just, your constituents, or you go with your board member, and you just make it happen. You work together. You work together with the superintendent, but the superintendent who is supposed to carry out the policy, come up with the plan, she oversee the plan, evaluate what she's doing, or he. And if it's not happening, then we'll come back forward and fix the issue.
Did you answer?
I think that, yeah.
Okay, I think I saw one other question. Go ahead.
What is your
Theory?
As I know.
No, and I think it depends on who you're talking to. There are some Black Americans who we feel like they should be teaching from the Black. So then you have those white Americans are the ones history or right. They have their side. So to me, it's not offensive. Wait till now. Wait.
Checkout station will be shutting down. Repeat. Last call for checkout.
I mean, history is theory written by how we. I mean, we the United Even when I was in college, you don't see that with it. You should be able to have a, the paradigms that
Removing the history that's now and replacing.
history, add to it, and then you let the kids. Yes, ma'am. Each other the same and using the word, we're all good when you're off controlled political settings, but it's uncontrolled area sometimes. Everybody had those friends, but we history of lynching here in this city. We can show you of history of lynching. So, yeah, you can have those same white people that hung black people.
Yes.
Just no, I know it's past, so we're not going to talk about nothing past, and let's throw out all the history books, and they're just science, math, and English.
Ms. McDonald, do you have an answer for that?
The research as versed in it as I would like to be, but to me, the idea of critical race theory, I've done the researching. We're talking about history on sides of history. I completely agree with that. I think we need to feel how other people perceive things. That was a huge thing for me as a leader when I was in administration, is other people's perception and how in the world, and so we need different people's perception. My race theory is university level in how is in business and in legal issues and in the law industry and those kinds of things.
And can I use one example? Then, if it first tour, and I'm quite sure about the Hoover Dam. Also, the Hoover Dam tour, and 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. I got back on the bus. I said, "Man, I didn't see not one black person." And I said, "I know we." So I had to Google Hoover Dam. On the Hoover Dam, off in the Hoover Dam Museum. So that's what I'm talking about when we talk about. It's two different, now the wreck, it can be a wreck in Greenville, in Dallas. So it's two histories going on at the same time.
Let's go. I guess I did before, but we won't draw for opening closing statements. I'll go, Mr. Dean, if you go first. Let's do 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. It's going to be real quick. So who all lived in Greenville for the last 22 years? Can y'all stand up, please? For the last 22 years. And I'm doing this because I'm giving a shout out to my opponent, because she's been on the school board for 22 years. So if you have been happy with the school for 22 years, stay standing. So that's why you should vote Cedric Dean. That's it.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. As I'm walking, I'm doing the grassroots thing. I'm not a very social person. I have my family and I have education. Those are my two drives in my